Okay, so
What's
we
the
are
page,
reading
please?
Ikigai, chapter
25 of the
2,
PD.
chapter 2, page number 29. We are starting with the
25 of the
model's
PDF.
best kept secret, and in the PDF it is page 25. Chalo, you can start.
A model's best kept secret. Though we age both externally and internally, both physically and mentally, one of the things that tell us the most about people's age is their skin, which takes on different textures and colors according to processes going on beneath the surface.
So now this is very
Most
important, okay? The texture of the skin, the smoothness of the skin, the less stressed you are, the better your skin is going to be. So this is a beauty tip and a beauty secret. Many times when you are sick, you'll find that ash color starts to come on the skin. And this is exactly what John Cottam was also doing to be able to discern what is happening internally. So he was able to diagnose stuff by just the texture of the skin. So the more in equanimity you are internally, the better your skin is going to be. And we always see this. In fact, now sometimes I tell people after the workshops to actually touch their skin before and to touch their skin afterwards. You'll find that the skin definitely improves after any of the Monroe workshops.
Most of those who make their living as models claim to sleep between 9 and 10 hours the night before a fashion show. This gives their skin a taut, wrinkle-free appearance and a healthy, radiant glow.
So sleep is where repair and maintenance of the body starts to take place. So if you're not sleeping enough, the repair and maintenance will not happen. Okay, so that's why sleep is very, very important. You'll find that people who don't sleep well will get dark circles under the eyes. The skin seems to be, very powdery. It will get dry. Again, hydration, sleep, very, very important.
Science has shown that sleep is a key anti-aging tool because when we sleep, we generate melatonin, a hormone that occurs naturally in our bodies. The pineal gland produces it from the neurotransmitter serotonin according to our diurnal and nocturnal rhythms, and it plays a role in our sleep and waking cycles.
So again, serotonin, very, very important neurotransmitter or a chemical, right? Using that, melatonin is produced and even other chemicals are produced using that. Now, the pituitary gland is actually, the pineal gland is actually light sensitive. So when we are watching the screen, when the light hits the pineal gland, it still thinks that it is daylight. So the melatonin production gets affected. Now, if you see so many people are having sleep disorders, one of the main reasons is screen time. So if it is possible, you need to avoid using a screen just before you sleep. Otherwise, melatonin will not get produced and you will have sleep related issues.
A powerful antioxidant, melatonin helps us live longer and also offers the following benefits. It strengthens the immune system. It contains an element that protects against cancer. It promotes the natural production of insulin. It slows the onset of Alzheimer's disease. It helps prevent osteoporosis and fight heart disease.
So again, if you look at this, all these are repair and maintenance kind of systems. So if I'm not sleeping well, naturally the melatonin is not getting produced. I am not sleeping well. So the repair and maintenance of the body will get affected.
For all these reasons, melatonin is a great ally in preserving youth. It should be noted, however, that melatonin production decreases after age 30. We can compensate for this by eating a balanced diet and getting more calcium, soaking up a moderate amount of sun each day, getting enough sleep, avoiding stress, alcohol, tobacco, and caffeine, all of which make it harder to get a good night's rest, depriving us of the melatonin we need.
So again, calcium is very important. So if you see, all these things are literally alkalizing your blood system.
Right.
Now, if your blood system or your body is acidic, then all sorts of diseases will start to take place. Cancer cannot exist in pH above 5. Okay, so if your pH of your body goes below 5, and there are three places where you can measure pH, one is in your blood, one is in your saliva, the other is in your urine. Okay, now again, all three are constantly being monitored by the body. Now, if there is excessive acid in the system, the body wants to take it off and put it in and store it, get it out of the system. So one is through the excretory system. If that doesn't work, then the body will promote eating of carbohydrates to be able to take out that these harmful chemicals and store it in the fat. Okay, so again, eating a balanced diet and getting more calcium. So calcium will automatically alkalize your diet. Getting sunlight is extremely important. All of us get all our energy from the sun. Any energy that we have comes from the sun. So sitting in the sun, moving around in the sun becomes very important in the light. Okay. Now, a very interesting thing that Shamji Bhatnagar, when he had come here, he mentioned, so it's worth mentioning here. He said that you go into the sun, okay, and vitamin D gets formed in the surface of the skin, but it takes at least 2 hours to soak into the skin. Now, what do most people do? They'll go out in the sun and then they'll come back and have a shower with soap. So all the vitamin D gets washed out. So he suggested that if you're going out in the sun, don't have a bath with soap. You can just rinse yourself. That will not take away the vitamin D. Otherwise, the vitamin D goes. So the effect or the beneficial effect of being in the sun gets removed if you have a bath with soap. Getting enough sleep, of course, we've already discussed. Avoiding stress. Whenever you're stressed out, what happens? We saw it over here. The fight and flight response is activated, which the sympathetic nervous system starts getting activated. So your digestive system, your repair and maintenance system gets affected. And also what happens is that adrenaline and cortisol start getting secreted in your body system, which are toxic in nature if they are not used. Okay. So again, you need to avoid stress. Alcohol again creates stress in our system. We feel that it is relaxing us, but in actual fact, it is creating stress. It is said that by drinking alcohol, whenever you're drunk, brain cells actually start dying in your brain. So that is a very, very stressful thing. That's the reason of the hangover, when you get a hangover in the morning. Tobacco also does the same thing. It is a toxic substance which we are having in our system, which again will create toxicity in the system. Caffeine, again, also creates stress. When Joe McMonaghan, etc., were doing the remote viewing exercises, when they wanted to stress someone out, they used to make them have 3 cups of coffee. That was the stressor that they were using. So you can imagine that today, if you are drinking too much of coffee, it will stress your system out. And again, it can be addictive. I personally was addicted to coffee at one point in time, where I used to have maybe about 12, 13, 14, 15 cups of black coffee a day. And I actually got addicted to it. And I had withdrawal symptoms when I quit it. Okay. So caffeine can become very, very addictive also.
Experts are trying to determine whether artificially stimulating production of melatonin might help slow the aging process, which would confirm the theory that we already carry the secret to longevity within us.
So again, if we are stress-free, if we are sleeping well, if we are eating well, we are doing gentle exercise, automatically our longevity will improve. We have the secrets with us, but we are constantly stressing ourselves out unnecessarily.
Anti-aging attitudes. The mind has tremendous power over the body and how quickly it ages. Most doctors agree that the secret to keeping the body young is keeping the mind active, a key element of Ikigai, and in not caving in when we face difficulties throughout our lives.
Okay, so now you have to be active. You have to keep doing something new all the time. to keep your mind active, which will automatically keep your body active also. And the key is to enhance your ability of resilience. The more resilience you have in your system, the better you will be able to face adversity. Okay. So all the stuff that we are doing in awareness is only to build our resilience to face adversity. And that is where empowerment comes in. Okay. When you are when you are resilient, you're automatically empowered. So you have the power with you to be able to handle stuff. Okay, so that becomes very, very important.
One study conducted at Yeshiva University found that the people who live the longest have two dispositional traits in common: a positive attitude and a high degree of emotional awareness.
So again, what are we talking about here? Being on the right side of the grid, always in an uplifting kind of an attitude, okay, not a depleting kind of attitude. And again, we were talking actually before most of you joined the session, and that's how, matrix and all that stuff started coming, is a high degree of awareness. Now, awareness is not only emotional, it is also physical, mental, as well as spiritual awareness. So now in the meditations, we've started having people saying that someone brushed my hand. Now, yes, the brushing of the hand may have been taking place previously also, but now you are aware of it. Okay. So the heightened awareness is a very important key to be able to live nicely and have a long life.
In other words, those who face challenges with a positive outlook and are able to manage their emotions are already well on their way to longevity.
So again, if you are resilient, if you can manage this internal stuff very well, then automatically you will fall sick less. You will get better sleep. Your digestive system will be operating better. So automatically you're going to live better.
A stoic attitude, serenity in the face of a setback, can also help keep you young, as it lowers anxiety and stress levels and stabilizes behavior. This can be seen in the greater life expectancies of certain cultures with unhurried, deliberate lifestyles.
So again, let's say you are going into an ER, emergency room, and there is one doctor, Hare kya kare, kya kare, kya kare, kya kare, what to do, what to do. And there's another doctor who walks in very calmly and quietly. He assesses the situation, starts giving orders directly to whoever the assistants are, and takes things in control immediately. Which is the doctor that you want to have around you? Okay, I'm sure you want the second one. There's no question of having the first one. So again, setback. There is a situation. How are you handling that situation? Makes all the difference. Now, if the same situation, one person can get extremely anxious and the other person can handle it very, very beautifully and powerfully. Okay. So again, this is all based on resilience. Now over here it says expectancy of certain cultures with unhurried, deliberate lifestyle. So the more you can slow yourself down, the more you can just act out of allowing rather than doing. When you're doing, you will be hurried. अरे ये करना है, वो करना है, ऐसे करना है, वैसे करना है. When you allow whatever the task the universe is giving to you will start gently doing it. And then you will find that the flow will automatically start coming. And then when we come back to the last paragraph of emotional awareness, okay, or awareness per se. Now, when we get into the flow, our awareness starts to increase and we start understanding intuitively which is the task that I need to do first. And automatically then it will start happening for you. And this I'm telling you from experience. So much is happening, right? But it's happening on its own. How? Because we're just doing what needs to be done without allowing this small ego mind to interfere in what is happening. Okay? It's a gentle process. We're just allowing things to happen. So when you become hyper aware, you become more aware, then you can tag into that. So again, the trick is to expand awareness, to expand your sense of consciousness.
Many centenarians and supercentenarians have similar profiles. They have had full lives that were difficult at times, but they knew how to approach these challenges with a positive attitude and not be overwhelmed by the obstacles they faced.
So now again, the trick is to be in the right side of the grid. Whenever you are on the right side of the grid, you can handle situations, you can transcend them. All manifestation will take place on the right side of the grid. If you're on the left side of the grid, you're in a depleting state of consciousness. So no manifestation will take place. And if no manifestation is taking place, it is very difficult to handle any kind of situation with that state of consciousness.
Alexander Imich, who was in 2014 became the world's oldest living man at age 111, knew he had good genes but understood that other factors contributed too. The life you live is equally or more important for longevity, he said in an interview with Reuters after being added to Guinness World Records in 2014.
So now this is important. So you have genetics and then you have something called epigenetics. This epigenetics, I don't know how many of you all know about it, but the term was coined by a guy called Rupert Sheldrake. And he said that, oh, sorry, what was his name? This book is here. No, this other guy. I'm sorry, not Rupert Sheldrake.
Bruce Lipton.
Yeah, Bruce Lipton. Sorry, yeah. So biology of belief. Thank you, Sudha. So Bruce Lipton actually coined this term epigenetics. Okay. Rupert Sheldrake called the term of morphogenic fields. That's also very important. But epigenetics is what your surroundings are and which gene will get activated. So you may have the gene to have a certain trait, but if the environment is not congenial for that switch to be switched on, it doesn't get switched on. So what he's saying over here, the life you live is, he understood that other factors contributed too. The life you live is equally important or more important for longevity. So the genes may have something, the telomeres may be there, okay, you may have good sized telomeres, but how much are you using them? What is your environmental stress? What is the stress around you? What is the environment around you? Whether you are building good relationships or not, all those factors will start playing a part.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, please, Auntie.
You see, about few years, say about 50 years ago, our life was 50 years, 55 years, 60 years, we were dead. And today, our age, people are aging to 80, 90 and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
There is much more stress in life today. Everything is much, which is not right for this thing. How is it? What is the factor that is keeping us alive longer? You say nutrition?
It is basically the medical facilities which have developed. Today,
is that the only factor?
It is the main factor. Because today, you tell me how many mothers died in childbirth?
Many more before.
60 years back, exactly. So now you didn't have cesarean section, you didn't have antibiotics, you didn't have so many things which are there today. The healthcare system has definitely improved longevity, but that doesn't mean that we are more healthy.
The food was much better before.
The food
we
was
were not
much
so
better.
Stressed before.
Yeah, so we had
we
less
were not
stress.
So stressed.
Yeah, but other factors were there, Auntie. Like, the facilities.
It's only the illness.
Yeah, the illness, even facilities. Now, natural calamities, we are much better poised to handle natural calamities. Okay, the availability of food has definitely improved, whether we like it or not. The other stresses like security of a wild animal attacking you, that is not there. There are less wars now. If you saw, there were so many wars in the olden times. War was a constant factor. When you look at history, it's a history of wars. So that also affected the longevity. So there are various factors, of course.
Can I add one point?
Yeah, of course.
So I also feel, I mean, that's what we've been talking amongst our friends and all also. So we are all nearly 60 now. And we don't feel mentally and emotionally that we are 60. We still feel we are very young. Whereas when we were young, when we used to look at our parents and grandparents, they looked much older at the age of 50 than we around do, you know. So
That's
I think
absolutely
it's
right.
think about our attitudes also, which kind of affect.
See, Mukul Bhabi, it's also a quotient of awareness.
Yes, of course.
So imagine how much more aware and how much more expanded your state of consciousness is compared to your grandfather.
No, but I would say he probably had much more.
No, no,
Yes.
I mean, okay, it is a wrong example, but
Awareness,
most,
no.
Yeah.
Their awareness was much more than ours.
no, but the kind of knowledge, kind of information that we have today,
Yeah.
the kind of
Yeah.
exposure that we have today, they never had that, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Plus, it was a mindset also. You have to
Yes.
understand that again, it's an epigenetical thing where they, in their mind, if they hit 60, they have become old.
That's the
The,
point. That's
the
what I was.
concept of sathya gaya, you know,
We that अब हम बड़े हो गए
अब हम
हो गए
बड़े हो
kind
गए, अब हम बूढ़े हो
हाँ,
गए, अब मेरा time हो गया जाने का. You
and
know,
we still feel we are young.
we still
You know?
feel we are young. So
Yeah.
there's a shift in the epigenetical environment
Yeah.
also. We have to consider that also.
Yes.
Can I add something?
Yeah, please.
The earlier the average age of Indians were about 39.73 years. Now it has come to about 60, 70 years. So, and future another 10, 20 years, it will be almost 80 years average. So, seeing that the average age was 40 years, people at the age of 55, 60 used to think that it is their time to go. So, they used to think older than they used to look.
Exactly. That's exactly what we said, Ravindra ji. That वो mindset तो था कि अब हम बूढ़ा हो गया.
Yeah.
Now this thing is कि we might live up to 150 also because
Correct.
of the good food, good medicines and all that sort of thing. This
Yeah.
is what it is. Yes, I just read one study which said
Yeah.
we might be living. My God.
So we are looking forward to Auntie living for 150 years now.
God bless.
Whether we'll be around then or not, we don't know.
You have to take tips from me.
Yes. We will.
चलिए. Shimangla.
An ode to longevity.
So, Auntie, actually, you should live longer after reading this book. It's no point if we don't live longer.
And provided you implement everything that's written in the book. Shimangla, you're on.
An ode to longevity. During our stay in Ojimi, the village that holds the Guinness record for longevity, a woman who was about to turn 100 years old sang the following song for us in a mixture of Japanese and the local dialect. To keep healthy and have a long life, eat just a little of everything with relish.
So now this is important. Many people get stuck. I won't eat this. I won't eat that. I won't that. Okay, veg and non-veg is a separate issue, but you must try everything. I make it a point. If I go to my favorite place to go shopping is the vegetable and the fruit section of any shopping mall. And if I see anything that I have never seen before, that is the first thing that I buy. Okay. So taste things, taste something new. Always have a variety of stuff. In our culture, in Ayurveda also, they say that there are 7 tastes. So you must have all the 7 tastes in your meal. So if you don't have variety, you're not going to get that all the 7 tastes. So it says here, eat little of everything with relish. So enjoy eating whatever you're eating.
To keep healthy and have a long life, eat just a little bit of everything with relish. Go to bed early, get up early, and then go out for a walk. We live each day with serenity and we enjoy the journey. To keep healthy and have a long life, we get on well with all of our friends. Spring, summer, fall, winter, we
So again-
happily enjoy all the seasons The secret is not to get distracted by how old the fingers are, from the fingers to the head and back once again. If you keep moving with your fingers working, 100 years will come to you.
So in the first thing he's saying, enjoy, relish everything. Get up early. So physically keep fit. Okay. Enjoy the journey that we are on. Associate with friends. So community becomes very important. Enjoy everything that you do and keep moving, keep doing stuff, keep doing something new, keep working at it. Then you will never get old. So if you stop doing things with your fingers, you become lazy. That is where the problem starts. So in the Gita, you say from the Karma Yoga part of it, keep doing your karma, keep doing your dharma. You have to be active. You cannot become lazy.
We
Shivangla.
can now use our fingers to turn the page to the next chapter, where we will look at the close relationship between longevity and discovering our life's mission. Chapter 3, From Logotherapy to IKIGAI: How to live longer and better by finding your purpose.
Okay, so one of our members, people, I don't know if she's here today, but she's speaking to the person who does logotherapy in America, and maybe we will get that person to give us a talk also.
What is logotherapy? A colleague once asked Viktor Frankl to define his school of psychology in a single phrase, to which Frankl replied, "Well, in logotherapy, the patient sits up straight and has to listen to things that are, on occasion, hard to hear." The colleague had just described psychoanalysis to him in the following terms. In psychoanalysis, the patient lies down on a couch and tells you things that are, on occasion, hard to say.
So there's a distinction here, okay? In one case, you are hearing things which are hard to hear. And in the other case, you are saying things which are hard to say. There's a very big difference between the two.
Frankl explains that one of the first questions he would ask his patients was, "Why do you not commit suicide?" Usually the patient found good reasons not to and was able to carry on. What then does logotherapy do? The answer is pretty clear. It helps you find reasons to live.
Now, this is very important. So instead of focusing on what the problem is, you focus on what is keeping you here. So what is the positive stuff in life? What is the uplifting stuff in life rather than the depleting stuff in life? So psychoanalysis is looking at the depleting stuff, whereas logotherapy is looking at the uplifting stuff. So it is putting you on the right side of the grid.
Logotherapy pushes patients to consciously discover their life's purpose in order to confront their neurosis. Their quest to fulfill their destiny then motivates them to press forward, breaking the mental chains of the past and overcoming whatever obstacles they encounter along the way.
So again, so life's purpose. So they are finding their ikigai. Okay. The moment you find your life's purpose, then you get motivated to do stuff. You get motivated to get up in the morning. You get motivated to get out, to do what you need to do. Okay. If you don't know your life's purpose, and let me tell you, most of the people do not know their life purpose. And that is the biggest problem and challenge that people are facing today, because they are rudderless boats. They are sitting on the boat, but no one is controlling the rudder. It's just going here and there. Okay. Now, when we go to a person's house, there is a frequency which we can actually sense that they have no plan in place. They are operating a rudderless boat. And I tell them on their face that I don't see you having a plan, and you really don't know what's happening. Things are just happening on their own. It's just happening. You have no idea as to what is happening. Okay, so having a purpose in life becomes extremely important. And then the idea then again is here that if you start looking at the purpose from that small conscious mind, the egocentric mind, that may not be your life purpose. You have to go into an expanded state to be able to actually discern what is your life purpose. Because from our small state of consciousness, it is impossible to delve into that.
Something to live for. A study conducted by Frankl in his Vienna clinic found that among both patients and personnel, around 80% believed that human beings needed a reason for living, and around 60% felt they had someone or something in their lives worth dying for. The search for meaning. The search for purpose became a personal driving force that allowed Frankl to achieve his goals. The process of logotherapy can be summarized in these 5 steps. A person feels empty, frustrated, or anxious. The therapist shows him what he is feeling is the desire to have a meaningful life. The patient discovers his life's purpose at that particular point in time. For, of his own free will, the patient decides to accept or reject that destiny. 5. This newfound passion for life helps him overcome obstacles and sorrows.
So ultimately, what is happening? If you see, most people around us are actually frustrated and empty. They don't know what they're doing. They're just doing. So it's like a pattern they are living out of. So when we ask this question, when did you do something new? Let me tell you, I get blank faces. 9 out of 10 times I'll just get a blank face because they can't conceive when they did something new. Okay, so it becomes very important for us to figure out what is our purpose in life. Why are we here for? What are we here for? And in my view, the simplest way to understand this is that which side of the grid are you in? Whenever you're doing anything, whatever comes into your mind, which side of the grid are you in? If you're in the left side, that means you're off center. You need to drop it and you need to shift into the right side, because the purpose in your life will always be found only on the right side of the grid, never on the left side of the grid.
Frankl himself would live and die for his principles and ideals. His experiences as a prisoner at Auschwitz showed him that everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. It was something he had to go through alone, without any help, and it inspired him for the rest of his life.
So again, you see, I'll tell you, what I understood was that there are two aspects to growth. One is material growth and the other is spiritual growth. Okay, material growth can be taken away from you, because anything that is material, you can lose it. But intellectual growth, spiritual growth cannot be taken away from you. And your attitude totally depends on what state of consciousness that you're operating in. So the bigger expanded, the more expanded your state of consciousness, the better your attitude automatically becomes. That is again the reason why I'm so after the Monroe stuff, because when you're shifting into these altered states, your entire way of looking at stuff starts to shift. And another thing I have noticed happening is that when people have near death experiences, most of them, when they really have a true NDE, their attitudes towards life starts to take a shift. And the same thing happens without having an NDE, but by attending 2 of the 6-day programs of the Monroe Institute. I find the same shift start to develop in people. Okay, so how are you looking at life? What is important? What is not important? All that suddenly starts to get, you create a different attitude towards life itself.
10 differences between psychoanalysis and logotherapy. Psychoanalysis, the patient reclines on a couch like a patient. In logotherapy, the patient sits facing the therapist who guides him or her without passing judgment. Psychoanalysis is retrospective. It looks to the past. Logotherapy looks towards the future. Psychoanalysis is introspective, it analyzes neurosis. Logotherapy does not delve into the patient's neurosis.
Okay, so again, it's not dwelling into the negativity. Okay, it's always looking at what next.
Psychoanalysis, the drive is towards pleasure. In logotherapy, the drive is towards purpose and meaning.
So now pleasure is always short-lived. You can't be in pleasure all the time. But if I'm focused on my purpose of life, meaning of life, then I can keep experiencing the pleasure because I'm constantly moving towards my goal.
Psychoanalysis centers on psychology. Logotherapy includes a spiritual dimension.
So again, physiology, it's psychology here, spiritual dimension there. So we are looking at a higher state of consciousness.
Psychoanalysis works on the psychogenic neurosis. Logotherapy also works on noogenic or existential neurosis. Psychoanalysis analyzes the unconscious origin of conflicts, instinctual dimension. Logotherapy deals with conflicts when and where they arise, spiritual dimension. Psychoanalysis limits itself to the patient's instincts. Logotherapy also deals with spiritual realities. Psychoanalysis is fundamentally incompatible with faith. Logotherapy is compatible with faith. Psychoanalysis seeks to reconcile conflicts and satisfy impulses and instincts, whereas logotherapy seeks to help the patient find meaning in his life and satisfy his moral principles.
So there's a big difference between psychoanalysis and logotherapy.
Fight for yourself. Existential frustration arises when our life is without purpose or when that purpose is skewed. In Frankl's view, however, there is no need to see this frustration as an anomaly or a symptom of neurosis. Instead, it can be a positive thing, a catalyst for change.
So now this is very important. That feeling of frustration is what leads us into the spiritual path. Okay, so if you're not flustered, if everything is going all right for you, why will you seek an alternate path? Why will you seek expansion of consciousness? You will only see it when there is something empty, when you're getting frustrated, when things are not making you happy. That is when the shift takes place. Okay, and it can be a catalyst. So it's like pain. What is pain? Pain is a very, very useful thing because it tells us there's something wrong over here. Please become aware of it, right? Now, if the pain only wasn't there, then how would you be aware of it? For example, like diabetic people, many times what happens is that they lose their sensation, that feeling of pain in their feet. Now, if there's a cut in the foot, the blood may be continuously draining out, but they will not be aware of it. So now, if we cut our feet, the normal people, we'll feel the pain. So we know that something's going on there and we can take steps to handle it. So again, frustration has a very, very powerful positive impact. I was just talking to someone. I told him that bad times are actually good because when you have a bad time, a so-called bad time, you start paying attention to stuff that you didn't pay attention to before. So you can cut the flab, you can improve efficiencies, you can see how things can be done better because you have to tighten the screws. When everything is going well, there's a lot of stuff that you overlook. So in the same way, frustration can become a very positive thing because it allows you to shift your state of consciousness.
Logotherapy does not see this frustration as mental illness, the way other forms of therapy do, but rather as spiritual anguish, a natural and beneficial phenomenon that derives those who suffer from it to seek a cure, whether on their own or with the help of others, and in so doing to find greater satisfaction in life. It helps them change their own destiny.
So again, when do you remember God? When something is going wrong. So you're looking for a spiritual aspiration whenever you are feeling flustered, when you're feeling blocked in. Okay, ultimately the ego shuts down. Once that frustration is so total that the ego can't handle it anymore, that is when the shift starts to take place.
Logotherapy enters the picture if the person needs help doing this, if he needs guidance in discovering his life's purpose, and later in overcoming conflicts so he can keep moving towards his objective. In Man's Search for Meaning, Frankl cites one of the Nietzsche's famous aphorisms: "He who has a why to live for can bear with almost anyhow."
So again, if I have a purpose in life, then I'm willing to take up any challenge, any obstacle that is in my life to achieve that particular purpose.
Based on his own experience, Frankl believed that our health depends on that natural tension that comes from comparing what we've accomplished so far with what we'd like to achieve in the future. What we need, then, is not a peaceful existence, but a challenge we can strive to meet by applying all the skills at our disposal.
So again, stretching the rubber band, raising the bar, that is extremely important. Okay, so we constantly need to raise our bar. We have an instrument called the EM wave from the Institute of Hartmann, where you can actually see if you're stressed out or not. Now, in that, there are 4 challenge levels. So when you're seeing that, okay, in challenge level 1, I've hit 100% in the green, you raise the challenge level, again, you will come into the blue. Okay, so again, you have to work on yourself to raise the challenge level. All video games, nowadays, everyone is playing these video games and that ball thing, I don't know, everyone is hooked on to. Again, in that, what is there? They're challenge levels. So the more you adhere, the more you practice, the higher your challenge level will become. And that's actually a good thing, to raise your bar, to keep increasing your capabilities, to increase your resilience.
Existential crisis, on the other hand, is typical of modern societies in which people do what they are told to do or what others do, rather than what they want to do. They often try to fill the gap between what is expected of them and what they want for themselves with economic power or physical pleasure, or by numbing their senses. It can even lead to suicide.
So again, most of the time, what are we doing? We are attempting to look good rather than feel good. And also we are many times doing stuff because we want to look good, to acquire material power, etc. But actually, ultimately, that leaves an empty space internally. So until you actually click into that spiritual quest to actually understand what is your meaning, what is your purpose of life, you can actually drive yourself crazy. Okay, and then it can lead to suicide also.
Sunday neurosis, for example, is what happens when, without the obligations and commitments of the work week, the individual realizes how empty he is inside. He has to find a solution. Above all, he has to find his purpose, his reason for getting out of bed, his ikigai.
So how many of us can actually just sit doing nothing? It becomes really painful. One of the acts in this process of the process of vipassana is that you need to just be with yourself without any kind of external stimulus. Now, all of us have got so used to this external stimulus that when we have an opportunity to sit alone, it becomes a problem for us. Okay, so if I have my life purpose, then I can even sit. But if I don't know my life purpose, very difficult to sit still, to be able to actually just be with yourself.
I feel empty inside. In a study conducted at the Vienna Polyclinic Hospital, Frankel's team found that 55% of the patients they interviewed were experiencing some degree of existential crisis.
So if you don't know what's the meaning, what's the purpose in your life, ultimately when you look within, your life is empty. There is nothing that you're doing holds value. You're just doing it for the heck of doing it, So again, you're a rudderless boat which is just flowing and you really don't know where you are going.
According to logotherapy, discovering one's purpose in life helps an individual fill that existential void. Frankl, a man who faced his problems and turned his objectives into actions, could look back on his life in peace as he grew old. He did not have to envy those still enjoying their youth because he had amassed a broad set of experiences that showed he had lived for something.
So again, when you find your purpose, when you find the meaning in your life, you tend to live for a particular purpose. Okay, so you find fulfillment, you've lived for something. Otherwise, what is it? You're just living life in a rotation. सवेरे उठेगा, ब्रश करेगा, बाथरूम जाएगा, खाना खाएगा, ऑफिस जाएगा, वहां कुछ करेगा, वापस आ जाएगा. Okay. Now, if you see your life, has your life got meaning? Are you actually looking at achieving something? Are you connected with your life purpose? When you're connected with your life purpose, you enjoy what you're doing. You get up excited from your bed that yes, I'm looking forward to doing this. Is it happening to you? If it is not happening to you, then you need to look inside. And that exercise that we talked about yesterday with that diagram, Shivanga, if you can pull that diagram up.
1 second.
You have to take it up.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know how many of you have done this exercise, but it is extremely important that you all do this exercise. So list out in a piece of paper, what do you love? Okay, mark all the items there and then make 3 more columns according to me. And then are you good at it or not? Does the world need it? Make the tick marks and see where your passion lies. Because unless you find that passion, you're not going to lead that fulfilling life. So it's extremely important. All of you must do this. Whoever is over here, you all must make that list out to really see where your life is going and what are you doing with your life. Okay, I think we can close now. Anyone, anything to say?
Bhaiya, Manisha here.
Yeah, Manisha.
The same diagram you had sent in a colored form
Yeah, it's
on
the same thing.
the WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
It's slightly different. If
No.
we go to that.
If you go to that, what has happened is that these 4 columns, these 4 parts, they've also added something in these parts.
Like confusion and
Yeah. So it's the middle part. Look at the broad 4 categories. Let's not look at the other stuff.
okay.
Just look at the 4 broad categories.
Okay.
Okay. Anyone, anything else?
Yeah, thank you.
Sir, I just wanted to mention.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, Sudha, go ahead.
Yeah. So this thing is, I guess we're living more this generation is living more because we have more alternate forms of healing.
Yeah, that is also for
that. And so our stress is reduced a lot.
Yeah. So that's why I said now,
Yeah,
because of
and
the
also
medical
we exercise with yoga.
Yeah.
Yeah, yoga also. Yeah.
Yeah, so all sorts of, you see, we've got access to a lot of stuff, which in the olden times, the access wasn't there. Today, I mean, you can Google anything literally, you know, you want to learn something, you Google it and you have it in your fingertips. Now, previously you had to hunt around for you had to really hunt for a guru. Then you had to get the time to go and sit with the guru to learn it. It was a very slow process. Now we are getting so much information, which also can act as a deterrent because we are overloaded with information.
And sometimes the guru would not divulge the information; he would keep it as a secret, you know.
Exactly.
So
that was another challenge.
Yeah.
That was another challenge that was faced.
Yeah.
Yeah, Geeta, you were saying something.
So what exactly is the difference right side of matrix and left side of matrix?
Oh, we've not done that. Okay, tomorrow, next session, we'll take that up. Okay, because that will take about 10 minutes. We don't have 10 minutes right now. Okay, so on Monday, we'll talk about the fringe, and then we will take up the grid also.
The left and right side of the grid, right?
Yeah. We'll take up the grid. Anyone else? Anything? Yes, Alka?
So I feel, shall I speak?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Also, I feel people before were quite rigid. Nowadays, people are more flexible and open-minded. Like previously, they had a rigid set of thinking. I think that now we are more open-minded. We are open to change, accepting technology and everything.
Yeah, so accepting technology, but I don't know, it works both ways. Ask any parent of a teenager and they'll tell you how rigid the teenager is.
Right.
I don't think you have a teenage child right now.
I have to.
You have to, okay.
Of course. No, but then like they were very rigid in their mindset, like how women should be. I mean, every role was very rigidly defined. So moving out of the confines maybe was not that easy that time. Nowadays, like we are more flexible. We are more open to change.
I think we have no
Like
option now.
You have no option. The ladies aren't going to listen to you now.
maybe.
Previously, you, I mean, I must not say this here. I'm outnumbered.
Alka has her hand up for a long
Alka,
time.
you have something to say? Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. I want to know that how do we know our life purpose?
That is something that you need to find for yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, and that is
Actually,
where,
consciously-
again, to be frank with you, this is again the reason of the Monroe stuff. Because when you start going into expanded states, it's like, if I'm looking for something here, then I can only see so much. But if I'm here, I can see so much. If I'm here, then I can see so much. So as we expand our state of consciousness, our awareness about everything starts to get expanded automatically. Okay, so this is the reason why I'm really pushing the Monroe stuff.
Yeah.
So again, make a list of all the stuff that you like doing. Okay, that's the first step. The second step is, are you good at it?
Okay.
The third step is, does the world need it? And the fourth step is, can you get paid for it? Now, let us say you really don't need the money, then the three steps are good enough. The three steps are good enough. So let us say you like doing gardening, for example. So I love doing gardening. That's one of your purpose, one of the things you love doing. Okay.
Yes.
So you love doing that, is a ticked off.
Okay.
Are you good at it? Tick it off. Okay. Does the world need it?
Okay.
And can you get paid for it?
Can you get paid for it, mean?
Like now today, I know that there are two people in this group who make bonsai plants.
Okay.
And it is their passion.
Okay.
So is it your passion? Do you love doing it? Yes.
Yeah.
Are you good at it? Yes.
Yeah.
Does the world need it? Of course, the world needs more greenery, more development as far as nature is concerned. Can I get paid for it? They can sell their plants.
Okay. Okay.
So what do you love doing? That is the first question that you need to ask yourself.
Okay.
Maybe you love doing cooking, for example.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you good at it? Tick it off.
Yeah.
Okay. Does the world need it? Of course, world needs food. Can you get paid for it? Ask the question. So now if that ticks off and it is your passion, then follow your passion passionately.
Okay.
Make it a mission in life that I want to feed 1,000 people every day. So you have, if you go back to that, into that thing, I hope you took a picture. So what does he say over here? If what you love and what you are good at becomes your passion, okay? What you love and what the world needs becomes your mission. What you are good at and what you can be paid for is your profession. Okay, okay, this is what I do. And what the world needs and what I can get paid for becomes your vocation. So your means of earning a living.
Okay.
So figuring out what is your passion, what you love doing basically is the first step.
Okay.
Got that?
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
But we have lot of now. These
Yeah,
type
so
of,
make a list
I
of
have,
it. It doesn't mean that you have to have one ikigai, right? You can have 10 ikigais.
okay.
You don't have to have only one. Like today, I'm passionate about biofield tuning. I'm passionate about Monroe Institute stuff. I'm passionate about HeartMath stuff. I'm passionate about life system. I'm passionate about holding these Zoom sessions. I'm passionate about connecting with people. I'm passionate about empowering people. Now, if all of them can merge and become one, that gives me even more power, right?
Oh.
Okay.
Can I say something?
Yeah, Christine.
Yeah. You know, the author that has written the book which I'm reading, the Ikigai book that I'm reading,
Yeah.
he talks about being rewarded, you know, makes it more broader spectrum than talking about getting paid for. The fourth principle is, are you getting rewarded for what you're doing?
Yeah, so getting paid for means that you're getting something back. You may be paid in love. You may be paid in affection.
Right.
So that is also, you're getting something out of it. Okay, that's the
Right.
basic idea over there. So it's not only monetarily. You can get satisfaction. You can get paid by satisfaction also.
Right. Appreciation.
Appreciation, absolutely. Appreciation. You can get a reward, basically. Any kind of reward.
Right.
Okay, so I mean, there are many things in the chat I can see. Yeah, the picture has been posted in the group, Minu. I'll post it again. It's posted in the book reading group. I don't know if Minu is in the group. Anyway, we'll see. Okay, so see you all everyone at 3:45. And then of course we have the 9:15 also today. So please do join. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank